Hello everyone. I want to show you one simple bash script which was modified by me. I have found it in the internet and I decided to use it because it was an additional method which secures my server, actually my web server, and this is something what actually I was looking for because in the beginning I added a script which is banning the bad IP addresses from many different companies and sources which are gathering the data from the from actually the I don't know, maybe some kind of honeypots or some scripts. They are leaving servers which are potentially insecure for attackers, and it's nothing important on those servers. However, thanks to this, they are gathering the IP addresses from attacking sources like, I don't know, maybe some kind of script or some scanning tools which are looking for potential issues, potential information about the version of, I don't know, use the WordPress or PrestaShop or Joomla, Drupal. You know, there are many content management systems, and this is something what they actually leave unprotected, even unpatched, just to be able to gather those IP addresses. Anyway, I would like to show you something, and I would like to explain how it is working step by step, and also I would like to show how to make it work correctly on your web server, and you can implement it really easy because it does not require any additional tool, any additional software. So you can just copy, paste it into your server, make it executable, and then add it to the cron tab, make, I don't know, maybe even a cron job or something like that. Yes, and it depends on you. And you can even make a log rotate for the log if you want to put gathered IP addresses to the log, and which can be sent through email. And at the end, the script is just using those IP addresses, and it's adding to ipsec, which ipsec is just dropping the traffic, dropping the connections from those IP addresses. This is how the script is working. I will show you it in a moment. I just wanted to show you one thing, just to let you know how everything is working. But I would like to show you the link on my website, and you can find it. However, I just wanted to mention this and would like to explain how I did it, how I blocked over 400,000 bad IP addresses currently, and this is something which is really good to mention and which is really good to show to you. Okay, I think I will switch to terminal first of all. Here we go. You have a log from the dropped connections. You can see there is a lot of IP addresses, so this is something what is natural, and I will show you in a moment how everything is worked. But first of all, I would like to mention this IP address, how it is added to the ipsec, and everything is explained in my article, which is about creating ipsec and adding the bad IP addresses into the ipsec. So let me see this, and I will show you my browser, and you can see there is an article, and you can see below that there is description of the ipsec, how to create a block list, and here we go. Below you have the script which is doing the job. Actually, it is gathering the bad IP addresses from many different websites which are gathering the data, what I already mentioned. Then it creates a block list. It is adding everything to the block list. It is sorting and then exporting unique IP addresses and creates a list. And at the end, we are just reading IP addresses from the list and adding it to the ipsec. Everything is explained. There is an explanation of the bash, how the script is working, how to run the script in the background if you want. And additionally, I added the showdown.io IP addresses, so you can create a list manually and add it to the script if you want. There is an explanation how to create a cron tab and how to plug the block list into the firewall D, and everything is here. Or if you want to use iptables, you can use iptables. Everything is here, and how to create a ipset during the boot, how to make it work, and how to create the service. And at the end there is information how to create ipset in firewall D. And at the end of this you can add a log rotate for logs to properly compress them and store them on the server. And this is it. Everything is explained, and even I explained the information about the kernel and how to modify it and how you can use it to change the value for kernel and how to configure the kernel parameters, because every messages by default are going to the usually Verilog messages. So I just wanted to get rid of this from Verilog messages and create a separate logs for the dropped traffic and separate for the rejected traffic. So there are two separate logs, and this is the explanation how I made it to make it work. And of course there are references at the end, so you can read the whole article and we will find out that it is working. But it was not enough. Just like that, it was not enough, and I will show you why. I will switch to mail now. You can see the script is working. However, I would like to show you one thing. I don't know if it is. I don't. This is from Logwatch from postfix, and I'm looking for the Logwatch from. Wait a minute. Maybe it will be here. opt weblog. No, it's a weblog. It's mine. Anachrome Arcan Hunter. Logwatch for postfix. This is OpenDmark. Here we go. And you can see there is a section from the HTTPD. It's Apache actually, but it can be also an nginx or litespeed. It doesn't matter at all. And I have received those alerts at my email when I installed Logwatch. I don't know, it was a year ago, maybe something like that. But I was frustrated that I can see still the 400 bad requests. There is a one time, but if sometimes there were, hundreds or even thousands bad requests, 400, and I just wanted to get rid of this because 403 forbidden. This is the correct answer from the server. 404 not found. Yeah, this is also it's okay, but you can get rid of the 4 bad requests if you want. You can get rid of not found if you want. It's not a problem. You can see hit 5 times, 2 times. So this is something what should have not placed. And if you want to get rid of this, then you just have to create the script. Or I mean, this is the way I was able to make it. I was looking for a solution to find a software which will be doing it, but I was unable to find it. That is why I decided to look for some another explanation to solution for my issue, and finally I have found it on one website. Actually, it was a Facebook group, and someone just put the script, and I made it a little bit simple, because the guy was using the log tail, which is actually unnecessary, and this is something additional which that shouldn't actually be used, in my opinion, because usually if you are working some company, the company is not allowing to install any additional software. So because of that, you have to make it work correctly. Okay, so we are going to switch to terminal. I will quit this and I will show you that cdopt blacklists have files here. So the old one script, it's inside the blacklist, the script which is already on my website. So you can see it's here, and you can scroll. I will scroll up just like that, and everything is here. So this is the script. Those are companies and projects which are gathering the bad IP addresses. Everything is then described on my website. So this is how I work, and this is how I block the bad IP addresses. But okay, we will exit, and how I did it, right? How I blocked the scripts which are scanning my web server. So you can see it here, and this is the simple script. In the beginning, this section, it's just checking is the IP addresses txt, right? It exists. If the file exists, then leave it. If the file does not exist, just create it by using the touch. That is all. Then you have this section which is described above. It displays the Apache log file in this section, but you can use, instead of Apache, you can use nginx or litespeed. You can write actually 3 scripts if you want, or you can just copy it, and you can use this piece of the code and just add it below. Just change the log, and you can use nginx and Apache at the same time if you really want. For example, if someone is using a Docker or Kubernetes, then the person can have instances. One instance is running with Apache, the second one is running with nginx, even the third can be with Lightspeed. So actually one script can gather the data from 3 different scripts. It depends on you actually. So how the script is working, so it is scanning, actually it's cutting the Apache log in this situation, then it is passing to grep, and then it's grepping all lines that do not contain words like boat or goggle, right? In the next step, it is grepping the 404, so actually there should be spaces here, and you can use the 400, right, or 404 error, depends on you which error you will choose to. Then the next is just the print with the awk. Just it prints the first column actually, right? And then one more time you are using the awk to match IP addresses from the first column. I mean, this is the first octet, the second octet, third octet, and fourth octet. Then you are just using IP, how the IP should be exported, and then it prints the IP address. And at the end that there is a set. Set is just removing all empty lines, and that is all actually, right? It removes the blank lines, and then nginx just do the job. Just it's sorting unique IP addresses. If they are repeating, it is sorting it, and it is extracting unique IP addresses. But next AW key is doing the job. Actually, it is checking if the IP address on the list is listed more than once in this case, right? And if the IP addresses in the first column is listed more than one time, so at least 2 or more, you can use it. But here we go, you have a 0, so 0 is the beginning. I will try to explain. 0 means that if there is 1 or more, if the value from the IP addresses from the column number 1 exists more than 1, then the value must be 0. But if you want to make it that it exists more than 2, so you should change the 0 value to 1. If you want to check that the value, I mean the IP address is listed more than 2 times, so 2 or more, so you have to change the value to 2, right? So if the value is bigger than 2, so if someone tried to get from the same IP addresses 3 times or more and tried to scan your web server, then it will be banned. So the safest way is just 1. More than 1, actually. It's bigger than 1. So 404 error usually shows on the website when someone is, I don't know, maybe it's looking for something on your website and it's unable to find it. Usually the human and it's changing the word which that is looking for, and it's looking for something else. It doesn't, I mean, the human doesn't look for the same thing twice usually. So the value is safe in my opinion. But if you think that sometimes they can make a mistake and just to search the same value more than once, then you have to change the value to at least number 2. So if the value will be more than 2 times, so if someone will try to look for the same information 3 times or more, then the value 2 is safe. But I would like to leave it and to change it the value to number 1, and the number 1 should be correct. And then you're using the grep to separate all these IP addresses from the IP addresses takes t and txt, and the rest that is left, it should be put into the memewebblog in temporary directory. This is how the script is working. And then you have variable if this file, right, is not empty, then not the file then not the content from this file, the list of IP addresses to ipaddresses.txt. This is how it works. And for it is checking that it is displaying the content of memewebblog, which contains the list of IP addresses, and it's saving it to ipaddresses.txt. That is all. And after that, you can see you can add from the list You can add a bad IP address from the list to the ipset, or you can just use the function, and for each IP addresses in memewebblog you can just add the IP address to the blacklist one by one. So it depends on you how you will make it work. You can use this file or you can add it manually to the ipset, or if you're using the firewall CMD, right, and with ipset, then you can use this and it will add the IP addresses one by one from the memewebblog. That is all. And eventually if you want to use the iptables, you can just use this. I commented it out because I am not using the iptables. I'm just using the firewall D and ipset, and that's all. So then it reloads the firewall D and it is removing the memewebblog file. That's all. This is the script which is working. And okay, here we go. We will save the change, and at the end you can add from tab E. So at the end I just added it this way. So every hour it is running the script, and the script is looking for bad IP addresses, and it is adding to the ipset, and ipset is dropping the connection. That is all. If you want to change it a little bit, and for example, because we have a OPT blacklist IP addresses, right? This one. And if this file is not removed, right, then you can see the content. I will check is it does it exist. So if I will list it, you have IP addresses that exist, so we will cut it IP, and you can see there is a list of IP addresses which are banned, right? So I have to check it is working. I mean, is the ipset, added? I mean, the IP address is added to the ipset and the ipset is blocking it. So first of all, you can check it very simple way. So you can just run one simple command and just to check it. If I remember, I have it in the history, which I will just check the history. But it will be difficult to find it, so I will grab the history through the ipset. It will be much easier. And if you want to check, for example, the IP addresses from the list, you can use this. And for example, let me check. Oh, a lot. Okay, ipset test blacklist and IP address, just like that. So cat IP addresses, and then we can use this. And for example, we can check if this IP address added, and you can see warning, the address is in the blacklist, right? So it's checking. The same way if you want to check on firewall D, so you just have to use this command to get entries and grab through the IP address, and you can see that it will show the IP addresses that it's added to the ipset in firewall D. This is how it works. This is the way you can check it, actually. Very simple way. And that's it. So you can be sure that it is working, because if you will check the first IP address and the last one, you should be able to do that. And if it will show you, then it means that all those addresses between them are also added, so you can use any random IP from this one. Let me see this. So it will be added. Previously, the same way is with the ipsec, right? Just like that. You can see there is. So that is all. And eventually, the last one thing, if you want to make it work correctly, the IP addresses txt can be very large after some time, right? Because it is running, the script is running every hour, so it's adding sometimes IP addresses, and I don't know, maybe after a half year the file will be huge or not. It's hard to say. It can be 100 megabyte size or not, or less or more. It depends on how many IP addresses it will be it will find and how many addresses will be added there. So to make it correctly, you can just go to cd etc log rotate d, and you can see there are scripts, for example, for HTTPD, also for firewall D or something else. You know, you can use any of the scripts which are here, just like that, to make it work. For example, I will try to check MariaDB. I don't know is it working. Oh, this is really some special log rotate for MariaDB, but maybe something easier. I will check for firewall D, maybe for firewall or D. I don't know, dropped, right? Not so bad. Really nice log rotate. So you can just copy the log rotate, and you can see it's using the retard. So it's something really easy, and HTTPD something much easier. Yeah, but the daily create rotate, so compress, did I compress, blah blah blah, something. This is good, but I think that there is some missing compress information, so I will just make a correction here from press, just like that, and then I can copy the HTTPD to the web block, something like that, and then I can use the Vim web block, and I will use the, okay, let me see, it will be opt blacklist, and I don't know, it will be something like ipaddress missing, okay, not missing on bird like post rotate. Actually, I don't really need it, so I can delete it, I guess so, and it should be working. And eventually we can use the firewall D. I'm just wondering, should I set the size? Maybe the size 10 megabytes is compressed, delay compress. Yeah, it's not so bad, so the size will be something like that. Size equal, for example, I don't know, 100 megabytes, something like that. And if the file will reach the size 100 megabytes, it will be compressed, and then it should work. So this is how it works. This is everything. It's done. So we have a log rotate for opt blacklist IP addresses .txt, so we can check if the file even exists. Cat opt blacklist IP addresses, right? So to be sure for 100%, you can copy this name, you can put it here, just like that, just to avoid any mistakes. That is all. Log rotate is done. So I think this is the best idea to show you how to make it work and to explain how the script is working, what it is doing, how you can block bad IP addresses from the scanners, from attackers. This is something what is really nice, I think. And I think that is all. Eventually I can try to explain one thing, because usually if attacker is using some kind of script, right, then it is trying to find out what is running on the web server. If attacker will find out, because the scanner is usually scanning the default locations inside the, I don't know, WordPress or any known content management system, so it can get the data, then hackers will be able to find out, okay, this is a WordPress. You can check even the version. If you will not hide the WordPress version or Drupal version, it will check, the script will check the default locations, are there accessible, and can hacker gather any additional information. If yes, then it's not so good, but if not, then okay, the hacker have a limited steps to do, right? So this is something what is really worth to reconsider. Because if you will hide the WordPress version, hacker will not be sure which exploit is working or which zero-day to use to attack your website. But if hacker knows the version, and he can see or she can see that it is outdated, right? And it's an old version and there is an exploit, so hacker can try to just hack your website, your service. So yes, it is important to update everything, but also it's important to hide versions. And even if you're paranoid, you can even change default paths and then change everything in the configuration to provide new paths just to make it work. And then it's much harder for attacker to find out what actually you're using on your server. This is how we defend. So maybe it's like paranoid level mode, but I think that this is the best idea, what I can suggest you to protect against them and to get rid of them totally from your server. You have to just use tools, or if there is no any tool, you can just make a script to make it work and get rid of them. Just show them the door are there, get out, right out. And I think that this is something what is really useful and needed, and I hope you enjoyed. I wish you a good day, evening or night, depends on when you're watching this, and have a nice day. Bye, take care. I hope everything will be done by you correctly. If there is something which will be not working correctly, then just do not hesitate to ask me for a help. I will try to help. I will try to find out what is going on, what is wrong, and eventually will show you how to correctly implement it. But I hope that everything is really explained well and you will not have any troubles.